Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We are pleased to have Anshuman Mohapatra, Senior AI Product Engineer, and Saurabh Maske, Enterprise AI Engineer, with us. And we'll be looking forward to hearing their perspectives and having an insightful discussion on moving beyond AI pilot and to see its measurable business outcomes. As we all know that AI has moved from experimentation to boardroom priority, and organizations are investing heavily on AI. So now the bigger question is how can we turn AI into a measurable and sustained business value? So that's what we are going to explore today, and we'll see what it takes to make AI scale beyond the pilot and to see its business impact on it. Before going ahead with the discussion, let's take a quick look at what we will be covering today. So, let me quickly share my screen with you all. I hope you can see my screen. All right. So, today we are going to explore. We'll start with why do AI pilots struggle to scale and what successful organizations are doing differently. Then we'll explore the key foundations of building enterprise AI. Along with that, some use cases and real world examples that have proven its value and that have showcased that they can actually provide a measurable business outcome and value out of it. And then we will wrap it up with a practical executive playbook. Along with that, you will be also getting some practical insights and actions that you can take back to your organization. So, as we go, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box, and we will address them during the Q&A towards the end of the discussion. So let's quickly go ahead with the discussion, and Saurabh will walk you through the challenges of enterprise AI. So, Saurabh, over to you.
Yes, thank you so much for the wonderful start, Priyanka. As before diving in, we have to make some basics clear, which is what is the current state of AI in market. So we'll talk about the enterprise AI reality. Okay. So if we look at the current state of AI adoption, one thing is very clear that AI is no longer experimental. According to recent industries, around 78% of organizations are already using AI in at least one of their business function or business processes. Investments in AI also continues to grow, and almost every boardroom discussion today includes AI as a strategic priority. And we all are aware of it because the bubble of AI is currently there, and we can feel it. So on the surface, it appears that organizations are making significant progress, but in reality, the reality is a little different. So while adoption has increased dramatically, enterprise-wide business value hasn't kept pace. Why this is happening? Because we can also see that many organizations have built impressive AI pilots. They have demonstrated technical feasibility also, and they have even showcased innovative use cases as well. Yet, those same initiatives often remain confined in a single department as a proof of concept or just a project or just a limited to a single business function. Now, why does this happen? Because scaling AI requires much more than building an accurate model or just deploying multiple models quickly. So rather than thinking about quickly deploying models, we should think on the outcome that the AI generates. That's not currently happening. It's just about how rapidly companies are mostly thinking about how rapidly we deploy the models rather than focusing on the outcomes. That's why this is the case in market currently. Now, what scaling AI requires? It requires trusted data, integration with business processes, governance, executive sponsorship, change management, and most importantly, alignment with the business outcomes. If your business outcomes are not aligned with the model that you have deployed or with the AI solution that you're going to build, it is of no use. Now, when we speak with enterprise leaders today, such as healthcare, finance sector, manufacturing, retail, and other industries, the conversation has shifted a little bit. Nobody currently is asking whether AI works anymore. Everybody is very confident that today's AI is capable than ever, and it can handle anything you throw at it. They are asking, the real question that they are asking is, how do we make AI work consistently across the enterprise? That's the challenge we are focusing on today. So I would like to ask everyone in the meeting joining us today about the projects in their own organizations. Let's say if you have built some AI initiatives, if you have some AI initiatives going in your organization, I want to ask you if your AI initiatives have moved beyond individual projects or they're still operating as an isolated successes. Maybe if I want to take a guess, most of the answers will be they are still as isolated success and they were not able to scale it properly, because that's the market reality we can see right now. So it's an important question because the answer often determines whether AI becomes a strategic advantage or simply another technology investment, right? So if AI itself isn't the problem, what actually prevents organizations from scaling successfully? Let's look at some of the most common patterns that we see today in the market. Now, there are 7 AI traps that prevent AI from scaling. Now, what are these traps? These are proven metrics, and we can say they are very common throughout this industry with the organizations which are not able to scale AI, right? So over the years, we have observed that AI rarely fails because of technology. In fact, today's AI models are more capable than ever, right? The real barrier are organization specific. It's not only related to technology. So let's talk about these 7 common traps one by one. The first one is putting technology before business value, right? So organizations often start by asking what AI solution should we build, rather than that the question should be, what business problem are we solving? If we ask ourselves this question first, rather than just what type of AI we want to build or how fast we want to build, we'll be getting even better outcomes with the solution that we eventually end up building, right? Uh, Also, if you see successful AI initiatives, they always begin with business priorities, not with questions that just shows immediate results or no long-term output. The second trap is weak or fragmented data foundations. Uh, so, what is AI? AI is basically the data that we give to it, whatever we feed to it, right? And AI is only as good as the data it relies on. So when the data is inconsistent or it is poorly governed, scaling it becomes extremely difficult. The third thing is, or the third trap is treating AI as an IT initiative. Now, what does this really mean? Let's say AI, generally the organizations will treat AI as just a IT project where technology teams are only owning the build process of it, the deployment phase, I mean, even they are the ones who end up using it. That should not be the case. As AI becomes more deeply embedded, into the organization, it is responsibility of all the tracks that we have in that organization to be aligned with that, and it should be owned by business leaders, operation teams, risk functions, and technology teams as well, and they should share that ownership and collaboration. Only then that AI model will be able to get proper context of the whole organization, and then maybe it will be able to produce better outputs or outcomes. The fourth trap is limited governance and oversight. Now, as AI becomes more deeply embedded into business operations, organizations need clear governance around security, compliance, data, and ethics and accountability. Because if that is not in place, we don't know where AI will take us or where that model will take us if we just rely on the output it provides to us without governing it properly. So, that is something which is very important. The fifth challenge is poor integration with enterprise systems. Now, since we're talking about enterprise AI, what is an enterprise AI? It is something which is deployed organization wide or in context of that organization. So if it doesn't have context of organizational processes or different business processes, it's of no use. It should be integrated seamlessly with multiple business processes like HR, finance, and maybe if it's a software company development, if it's a product company, uh, with the products, so that it should give proper outputs when asked. Correct. The sixth is low business adoption. Now, what does low business adoption means? You were successfully able to build a product, you were successfully able to build a model, your model is very sophisticated, it is able to generate correct output. But if the employees are not able to use it, if they're finding it difficult using it, or if they're not able to interact with the UI, so things like that. There are multiple things like that which might become blockers for your employees to be able to use that AI properly. If these are the cases, then you have to fix them first and then only deploy it to for the end users. And finally, one of the biggest challenges that we see is measuring activity instead of outcomes. Now, maybe we'll cover more of it in the next slide, but what is happening currently? Organizations are celebrating the number of AI pilots or the model they have developed. But executives which are investing on this AI, they don't invest in AI to increase the number of models only. They invest in AI to improve revenue, productivity, customer experiences, operational efficiency, and even competitive advantage between companies, right? That's the shift we want to make. So, if these are common barriers, the obvious next question becomes, uh, yes, we do see other companies also scaling AI and they are very good at doing it. So, what they are doing differently? Now, that's exactly what we'll see in the next one, which is what high performing AI organizations do differently. So, we've just discussed the challenges that prevent organizations from scaling AI, right? The good news is that there are organizations successfully making this transition, and when we look across industry, we notice same consistent pattern across these organizations. Now, what are those? The first and the most important difference is that they don't start with AI or they don't start with technology. They start with business priorities. As we previously also discussed, the question should be what business problem you are trying to solve rather than how many AI models you have built, how many you have deployed successfully, right? So instead of asking where can I use AI, these organizations ask a question which is which business outcomes are we trying to improve? Whether it is reducing operational cost, improving customer experiences, increasing productivity, or maybe accelerating time to market. AI becomes a mean to achieve these outcomes, not the objective itself. If AI becomes the objective itself, it is again confined as a project. It is done and dusted. Nobody will ever look at it, or maybe people will not even like using it if there are no continual updates to it. The second difference is organizations that scale AI successfully don't leave it solely with the IT department. AI becomes a shared responsibility in these organizations between business leaders, technology teams, operations, compliance, and executive leadership also. That is where we give maximum context of the organization to the AI. But yeah, that should be governed, which is for sure. So this cross-functional ownership ensures that AI initiatives remain aligned with the business goals and not just as a side projects of the company. Correct. Let's talk about another key distinction: how success is measured in these organizations. So many organizations celebrate. Uh, uh, Okay, sorry. Yeah, and finally, don't think in terms of isolated projects, right? So, uh, what these companies do, they don't think of AI in terms of isolated projects which will be owned by only IT departments, as we already discussed about it. They build long-term capabilities that can evolve and scale across the enterprise. So keep on updating it. They keep on asking these questions that can we do something better with it? Can we produce better outcomes with it? And that's when real problems will be solved and it will be scaled. There's one key takeaway that we can take from this is that enterprise AI is fundamentally a business transformation initiative, not just a technology initiative, right? So that's how we move to the next one, which is we need this transition in the market, which is how we move from AI projects to AI products. Now let's explore what that shift really means. So traditionally, organizations approached AI like any other IT project. A business need was identified first, a model was developed, it was deployed, and once the implementation was completed, the project was considered finished. That's it. No updates to it. People are using it. Maybe there are a few bugs they're resolving, and that's it. But enterprise AI, which is an organizational AI, doesn't work the same way. AI models do learn on themselves. Business environment evolve. Customer expectations are continuously changing. Regulations, rules and regulations around these AI models are changing. And then data, the main important thing. So if we talk about pre-geo phase, I think the amount of data that is getting generated today is not, which was getting generated before the geo phase, it's not even 15% of 15 to 20% of what data we are generating today, right? So that means the data that is generated is huge, and we have a lot of data. We have a lot of data to feed, data sets to feed to the AI, which should be fed to the AI so that it keeps itself updated with the newer norms or regulations. So this means that AI cannot remain static, right? The organizations generating the highest value from AI treat it as a living business capability rather than a one-time implementation. So instead of asking, have we deployed a solution, they continuously ask these questions. What are these questions? Is this still delivering value? Is it accurate? Has the business behavior changed? Can we improve it further? Can we reduce the cost? Can we somehow go back to three models instead of using four models? So these are questions that um, an organization should ask itself continuously to in order to grow further. Right? This continuous cycle of monitoring, optimization, and improvement is what separates enterprise AI from a traditional AI implementation. So products evolve based on user feedback and business needs, right? When real users are using it, that's when the AI gets context. It's okay that we have fed a lot of data sets to it, but how to process those data sets is what it learns from real user interactions. So enterprise AI should also follow the same philosophy. In many ways, AI doesn't end at the deployment. So this is the main problem. Currently what organizations are thinking, once we deploy, we are done. That should be treated as a starting phase, and they should say that, yeah, this is where actually things are beginning. So that is a transition we need in organizations. Okay, so if enterprise AI requires continuous approach, what does the journey typically look like, right? Let's discuss that in the next one, which is how we at Inspiron Labs approach AI and AI initiatives. So we have personally, I mean, we have at an organization built a lot of products, and we have been pitching a lot of products to our potential customers also. So every organization's AI journey that we have seen, it has been different because they belong to different industries. There were different challenges, there were different priorities for these customers. However, regardless of the industry, we have found that successful enterprise AI initiatives consistently follow a structured approach. Now, what is this approach? It starts with understanding the business, not the technology first. The first step is identifying where AI can create meaningful business impacts and then defining clear success metrics. Only then you proceed to the next step. Uh, Now, once these priorities are established, that we know what the customer wants and what are his priorities, the focus shifts to selecting a high value use case rather than just trying to solve everything at once. So, let's say if we find a problem in an organization, or if someone comes to us for a product and he has a problem, we'll break it down into smaller sub problems, and then we will try to build a holistic solution around it. We'll not try to solve the whole problem at once. We have these sub problems, right? We'll try to tackle them one by one and then eventually building a holistic solution for all of them. The next critical step is, uh, I would say this should be even before this planning phase, but it's okay. So let's talk about the third phase, which is strengthening the data foundations of AI. So now, without trusted, accessible, and governed data, scaling AI becomes extremely difficult. You have fed thousands of data sets to your AI, but you're not sure if those data sets are correct, they are clean. If you're not sure about that, it is eventually going to produce incorrect output, uh, which is not going to benefit us, basically, right? So only after those foundations are in place does the engineering phase begins, which is building AI solutions that integrate seamlessly with enterprise applications, workflows, and decision-making processes. Right now, we have discussed that, yes, how to identify the problems, how to break them down, how to build a solution around it, how to approach engineering, and then how the data foundation should be. But implementation isn't the finish line. We have already discussed about it, right? It is just the beginning. The real value comes from operationalizing this AI across business functions, ensuring that people also adopt it, and then we are monitoring its performance, we are governing it responsibly, and continuously improving the outcomes also. Because if we know that this is not working, we should instantly be able to fix it. Only then we can scale it. If we just keep on going with the same bug in the system, it's not going to work for us. This is why we often say that enterprise AI is not the destination, it's an ongoing business capability. Organizations that think in this way tend to scale AI much more effectively than those focused on just deploying multiple models. And this is our philosophy at Inspiron Labs, and I think that's what has helped us deliver multiple products to multiple customers in the past also. Okay, now before organizations can embark on this journey, there's an important question that they need to ask themselves. Also, this is one of my favorite slides, by the way. Why? Because this shifts the conversation from technology to organizational preparedness. Now, what does this mean, and why should we ask this question? So many organizations ask, are we ready for AI? But readiness isn't determined by whether you have just purchased the latest or the greatest model, you have purchased the most expensive model, maybe from Claude. That doesn't determine that yes, your organization is AI ready. Maybe some companies, sorry, build their sophisticated model themselves. They feed a lot of data with. Even that doesn't mean that yes, your organization is AI ready. How to determine uh, it is by asking yourself whether your organization has the right foundations in place. Do you have executive sponsorship driving AI as a strategic initiative? Why do we need this sponsorship? Is we will have to experiment a few things before going into the final phase, correct? So if we are not having that bandwidth to experiment, then maybe we might fail later, or we'll learn something in the somewhere in the future. So we can ask ourselves these questions. So the first one is, do you have executive sponsorship driving AI as a strategic initiative? Second one is, are your AI investments directly aligned with measurable business outcomes? Is your data reliable? Is it accessible in the organization? Is it governed properly? Because if the data quality is not good, then there's no output. There's no correct output. Do these business teams and the technology teams work together, or they are operating independently? We have covered this multiple times, and this might sound repetitive also. But again, if AI is owned only by the IT department, it doesn't have context of the whole organization. It will think from a developer's perspective or an IT person's perspective also, but not from a business person's perspective. We can also ask ourselves for our organization that, do you have governance, security, and compliance built into your AI initiatives from the beginning? If no, then maybe we'll have to think about it. And finally, if the employees in the company prepared to adopt and trust AI for their day-to-day work. Because as I said, right, if the people are not trusting that AI model, I don't think they'll end up using it. If there are challenges that they're facing while using it, they're not going to use it, because people want to make their life easier, not even hard. Correct? So I think these questions may sound straightforward, but they often determine whether AI scales successfully or stalls after a pilot phase, which is happening for most of the organizations right now. So these are some of the gaps we'll need to identify beforehand. Identifying these gaps early allows you to address them before they become potential blockers or barriers for scaling our enterprise AIs. Correct. Okay. So far we have discussed strategy, governance, readiness, but there's one more important shift organizations often underestimate: the organizational transformation required to make this enterprise AI successful. And that's exactly what we are going to see in this slide. Just give me one second. Okay. So the slide says AI is an organizational transformation, not just a technology transformation. I think from the heading itself, we can understand a little bit because we have discussed it in the past few slides also. But let's take a look at it in detail. So far we have talked about strategy, governance, and readiness of the organization. But there's one important misconception I'd like to address. Many organizations believe that adopting AI is primarily a technology only transformation, which is not true. Technology is only the part of the equation. In the beginning, only we said, right, the question should be what business problem we are trying to solve rather than what AI model we are using. So if your this AI model is going to be used to solve that problem, not to explore this model, correct? So think about any major business transformation over the last decade or maybe 20 years. Whether it was something like cloud adoption, there was digital transformation, and if we talk about enterprise modernization also that happened. The organizations that succeeded weren't necessarily the ones with the best technology adoptions, or weren't the ones who had the best technology. They were the ones that prepared their people, redesigned their processes, realigned their business processes, aligned their leadership, and build the right operating model. Now, building this right operating model is very important, because we definitely know that, okay, something is going to be replaced by the AI, and we will rely. at least for decision making, on AI more if we come up with an AI solution, right? So enterprise AI, if you talk about it, it is no different. Yes, you need scalable technology for building an AI solution, but you also need people who understand how to work alongside AI. You need to, you need business processes that incorporate AI into every decision making. You also need governance that ensures that, okay, the quality of output that AI produces, or the quality of data that is being sent to the AI is good. It is secure. The AI is responsible and compliant. And most importantly, you need a culture that embraces continuous learning. Because if a company's culture is not allowing, it happens. I mean, some companies work in a certain way that even if they have the most powerful AI model, they cannot use it because their company doesn't operate in the same way. Correct? So you have to ask yourself these questions before planning anything. One thing that we have consistently observed is organizations that treat AI just as an IT project often struggle to scale it. But organizations that treat AI as business transformation create a far greater and more sustainable value, right? So this is how we should approach AI, and this is how we should think about building these products beforehand in the planning phase itself. So when planning your AI journey, don't just ask this question, which is, do we have the right technology? You should eh, otherwise ask this question. Is your organization prepared to operate differently? Prepared to operate differently in the sense your decision making is going to be taken care by AI going forward. Not maybe not replacing all of the decisions, but yeah, to some part of it. And maybe it replaces a few rules. You might have to introduce few business processes to govern this AI and all of those things. So if you are ready to do that, if your organization is ready to do that, only then you have to proceed. Otherwise, it's better working in a offline model or manual model. So this is what is often the difference between AI pilot and enterprise AI capability, right? Now, we just talked on a high level about how we are going to uh, plan it, how we are going to execute it, when you should engineer it, when you should not think of adopting AI. But let's bring these concepts to life with a practical example from manufacturing industry. And for that, I have Anshuman with me. So, Anshuman, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Saurav. Thanks for laying the foundation. So, yeah, uh, we have talked about the idea and the principle behind the enterprise AI. Now, let's start bring into the real world example and let's see how this looks like in practice. Okay, so for that, let's take example of a sector. Let's start with the manufacturing sector. Here we'll see that what is the current business challenges and what AI can provide, what solution AI can provide. And with that, let's see a real world example of what is the business impact of it, right? So if we talk about the challenges in the manufacturing sector, we have first is the fragmented supplier ecosystem, right? So first we have a ecosystem. Imagine a manufacturer working in a multiple suppliers, right? The information we need about those supplier can be through different channels, right? It can be your email, it can be your PDF, it can be your spreadsheet or different systems. So the problem is not necessary that the information doesn't exist. The problem is that it's fragmented, right? So there is no single easy view that the business complete a picture of supplier, right? So whether it's your spending, whether it's your pricing, whether it's related to information, when people have to manually bring all this together, it become a time consuming and difficult to get a consistent view. If you talk about the second challenge, which is manual procurement process, the second challenge is a lot of procurement activity can involve a spreadsheet, email approval, people manually checking information before making any decision. That makes the process slower, and it also make it harder to get timely pricing insights. Say for example, if I need compare supplier or understand whether this is the right time to purchase, I may have to gather and compare information manually. So that delay the decision. Then next is the limited demand forecasting, right? So right now we don't have any tool. Like if we don't have any intelligence, we will not know that when is the demand, right? So because of that, I might uh, I as a manufacturer, I might end up buying more or might end up buying less, like, and which can have a business impact of it, right? And next is the rising procurement cost. Again, as I mentioned, right, when the data is fragmented, process are manual, and forecasting is limited. So we don't always have the intelligence needed to make the best procurement decision. We may not also know which supplier give us the best overall value when it makes sense to purchase. So we can miss the opportunity to negotiate, consolidate, or time our purchase better. So that is where AI comes as a solution. So what are the things it can provide? As I mentioned, right, the data we have right now is fragmented. Uh, so what we can have is we can have AI powered spend intelligence. What it can provide is it can basically tell that, okay, uh, this is the time, like it can give us, like this give us a much clear picture where money has been going over the past month or a year. So it can give a intelligence analytical data. So instead of people digging through invoices and the spreadsheet manually, AI can analyze available spend data and identify the patterns and highlights where there are any opportunity to save. Next is predictive pricing insights, right? So what it can do is AI looks at the historical data and check for all the available pricing patterns, which will help us to understand how price may move. The value is not simply knowing today's price, it also getting better information to support the decision of when to buy or how to plan the procurement. Next is the supplier risk scoring. As I mentioned, like so for example, if you can use AI solution to have a risk scoring for a particular supplier, right? So for example, if I'm having previously, if I'm having a bad experience with that supplier, if I can have a score rating, so I will know that, okay, since I had a bad experience with this supplier, I might go with another supplier, right? I can intelligently plan my need, right? And next is intelligent procurement recommendation. And this is the most important one. Think of this as having a intelligent advisor supporting the procurement team. So based on the available information, the system can recommend which supplier or procurement option may provide the best overall value rather than just leaving the team manually comparing everything. So what it can have a business impact. So we talk about the business challenges, what AI can give it as a solutions, and what is the impact of it. So if you see, the procurement cycle has been reduced to from 6 days to 1.5 days, and your procurement can be faster since you don't need to do a manual analysis. You all have the data, all the statistics of years of statistics you have with you. So it will save your time. And then it reduced the basically a reduction in the stockouts. Okay, 82% reduction in the stockout. And it has a business impact as well, which is monetarily as well, which it says that 7.5 million identify in the procurement saving. Because since you know smartly where to, it can be many factors, right? It can be distance factor as well. Okay, this, if I need this, okay, this is where I can go, or I can go for a cheaper options because we have multiple vendors. I can go with this vendor. So all this can be provided by AI. Moving on to next sheet. Okay, now we'll take another example of BFSI. So again, the business challenge will be different, but under the hood, the pattern is similar. So if you take an example of BFSI, they have different kind of challenges. For example, high customer churn, right? Limited personalization. If we don't have personalization based on the user base, then we will not know that, okay, what a user expecting. And next is the manual marketing executions. We have the marketing execution, but thing is it's completely manual. We don't If we don't have much statistics of it, we'll end up marketing, but there'll be not much impact of it if we don't know what is the outcome of it. Next is low visibility into customer lifetime value, right? So these are the challenges if we take example of the BFSI sector. So with AI solution, what are the things we can do? um, First is the customer 360 intelligence, right? We can have the information of the customer, right? We can have the whether the idea is to bring basically together the relevant customer information, so the organization get a much more complete view of the customer rather than looking at a isolate piece of information. Okay. And next is predictive churn analytics, right? So if, for example, if any customer is planning to basically leave, right? So AI can take a look and see a particular pattern and signal that, okay, that may indicate that is the churn risk. So what it can do is that gives the business an opportunity to intervene earlier. How can it does that? It basically can have a different type of recommendation based on what that user wants, right? So it can we can take example of like what is the next best offer recommendation, right? It can provide a real time personalization as well, right? Take example like we can basically whatever based on whatever the engagement is, right? Based on that we can show those kind of information, basically personalized information. Since it's a BFSI, we don't have much personalized information, but whatever governance body supports under that, whatever information, what are the things we can provide, we can provide that if we have the analytical data. Now let's see what is the business impact of it. So if we see like the churn had reduced from 18% to 9%, and there's an increase in the campaign conversion, market ROI has been doubled, and there's an increment revenue of $5 million opportunity. So you can see like as I mentioned, like it's AI is not only like gimmick anymore. If we use it intelligently, if we understand that what is the use case of it, then the business impact can have a very good impact on the business basically. Moving on to the next slide. Okay. So we talk about like we started with manufacturing, then we talk about the BFSI, right? So it can have like in all the industries, the scaling AI can have a significant impact. It's not only any particular sector, right? If we talk about healthcare, so healthcare also the data is segregated it across multiple system. So if we can have data across a single system, it's not only basically we'll say that we're just using AI in the healthcare, it's about basically using connected information to support better decision and better care, right? And BSFI, as we already covered, the focus is decision intelligence, improving the risk decision and customer experience, because that is very important. And if we don't have any, if you have common pattern and common information, each customer can have a different pattern of it. Once we understand that, and once we show them, give the data, give the personalized offers, you can say like, so we can retain those type of customers, right? So the organization has large amount of customers. AI can basically turn that information into decision around the churn, offer, or the engagement. So now let's talk about retail. Okay. So retail customer intelligence support personalization and demand forecasting. So on one side, you want to understand the customer well enough to provide relevant experience. And on the other side, in the retail, it's very important. You need to understand the demand. So you can plan the inventory, right? So if you don't understand the demand, what will happen? You will end up buying a lot, which will basically it's not good for you. But if you know that, okay, what is the current demand for my next 6 months or next 1 year? So based on that, if you can fulfill your inventory, then it will be both it will be good for the customer and it's good for the business as well. And manufacturing sector, as we discussed, the focus is operational visibility, right? It's very in the manufacturing, it's very important to know the operational visibility. So if you can see that what happens across supplier, procurement, and supply chain, you can make smarter operational decision. That's exactly what we saw in the manufacturing example when I spoke about in the previous slide. Next is hospitality. So hospitality also we can use intelligence. Say for example, in the hospitality sector, if someone is coming to your whether it's an Airbnb or anything, you can take example of it. If you can ask them, okay, please fill a quick form, and you can use that data and you can intelligently uh, get those statistics of it. So you can plan it, okay, what my customer demands, what they expect, and based on that you can fulfill that demand. And education also, AI has a very major role of it. We can do the automation as well. For example, in education, a lot of things are repeated work that doesn't help a student, right? So we can automate those things so that a student can focus on higher value learning and the teaching activities. So what are the key takeaway from this, right? So the important takeaway from this slide is not to memorize all six different AI use case. The point is that use case change by industry, but the enterprise capabilities needed to scale AI are remarkable consistent. Okay, a successful organization focus less on finding a industry specific AI trick or more on building the capabilities that allow to work across the enterprise. So if we move to next slide, that is the metrics that matters. Okay, so I'd like to highlight something. If you notice, like when we spoke about different industries, whether we started with the manufacturing, whether if BFSI or other industries, if you notice, we never discuss about a single time about what model they should have used, or when we gave the business impact of it, we never mention about any models or any providers or how many number of chatbot or agent we have. Why? Because before going with any technology, right, since in AI you have different providers, you can go with different technologies, different you can build it, right? But for any business, the most important thing is to start measuring. If I'm trying to implement AI in my organization, what should be the revenue growth of it? What should be the operational efficiency? What is the customer experience, right? If I'm having a very poor customer experience, for example, if I have my product and if I completely replace my customer service with a AI bot, and that bot is not able to resolve my problem, so it's of no use, right? I can say that, okay, in my organization we are fully integrated AI, we have replaced our customer support team with the AI, but it's end up you'll end up losing customers, right? So there's no point when you have thousands of agents when they are not able to understand the use case, the business use case. So it's very important, before going for any technology, we should understand whether it's relevant for me, or I'm just simply, as everyone is moving to AI, I'm also transitioning my company to AI first company. I'm just integrating, I need to build something, right? So so that is very important. So as I mentioned, customer experience, employee productivity, risk reduction, time to market, and the innovation speed. So these are the things, if we measure, then we can go with the technology later part, once we know what we are trying to achieve from the AI. Moving on to next slide. Okay, so I'd like to highlight this executive playbook where we have six action to scale enterprise AI. So first is start with the business outcome. So first action is to start with the business outcome. This is probably the most important mindset shift. Don't begin with, okay, where can we use the AI? Begin with as I mentioned earlier, what business problem are we trying to solve? Okay. Maybe the goal is to reducing the cost, improving the customer experience, increasing the revenue, you're reducing the risk, or improving the operational efficiency. Once the outcome is clear, then we can decide, okay, whether AI is the right solution or not. Okay. And the second is prioritizing high impact use case. An organization can identify dozen or even hundreds of possible AI ideas, right? But trying to do everything at once usually speeds resources too thin. Okay. Instead, the select the use case that have clear strategic value and has a measurable return. Okay. So the objective is not to have the largest AI portfolio, but is to have the portfolio that create the most value. If I talk about the third point, which is build an AI-ready data foundation. So this is where our earlier manufacturing example connects directly. If information is fragmented across spreadsheet, PDF, email, and system, AI can help organize and analyze, but the organization still needs strong data quality, governance, and accessibility. Because it's not like since the data is fragmented, that doesn't mean you will end up making all your customer data available for everyone, right? Or accountant data or something which is very confidential, you will end up. So that is why it's very important to have a proper governance and the accessibility. Even a sophisticated AI solution can produce unreliable results, right? And the fourth point is engineer for scale. So a pilot can work in a controlled environment, but enterprise AI should work in a real business and the workflow. When we are integrating AI, when we are saying that, okay, I'm integrating AI in my organization, that means it should be adaptive, it should understand the business use case, and irrespective of the user grow, it should basically, based on the business, it should grow itself. And the goal is to move from a successful demonstration to something the business can actually depend on. And the fifth is very important, which is govern responsibly. Uh, as AI become the part of real business decision, we need to guardrails. As I mentioned in a previous points, right? It's not like we just want to make our data accessible. That doesn't mean that we will not have any guardrail. We'll end up feeding our confidential information to AI, or we can have share all the information across the organization. That is very bad, right? So you should have a proper policy in your organization, and you should also make sure to follow that country where your company is. For example, if I talk about EU acts, which that is one of the first agency, a government agency who started the act, EU Act 2024. So if you're in those countries, we make sure we need to follow those acts, what they says, right? So that is very important to governance. Governance is not like there to slow down AI. It is what allow the organization to scale AI safely and confidently. Because for any organization, having a proper image is very important, right? And data is something which is whether it's a EU or any country, they have any other countries, they are very serious about it. So that is why having a proper guardrail is very important. And last point, measure, learn, and optimize. So AI is not one-time deployment. Once the solution is in production, we need to monitor the business outcome, right? It's not like simply we just deploy it and we'll forget about it, right? We should have a proper monitoring tool. We should know that what is the outcome it creates, understand what is working, identify where performance can improve, continuously refine the capabilities. So this is how AI become a long-term business capability rather than just a small one-time project. So before closing this sheet, I'd like to highlight few points. So these six actions from a practical path from experimentation to enterprise scale start with outcome, comes choose the right use case, prepare the data, engineer for scale, govern responsibilities. So these are the points is very important. So enterprise AI is not a destination, it's a continuous business capabilities. Moving on to next sheet. Okay.
So, sorry for the interruption. So, as we are running short of time, can we quickly wrap up the slides, and then maybe this is the checklist which already Saurabh has covered. So maybe what we can do post this session, we'll be sharing the uh, PPTs with you. We'll be sharing the like other assets with you, with our audiences, and then they can what they can do. They can go through the presentation and they can go through this checklist and they can analyze their organization readiness accordingly. So basically, we will be just sharing this with you. You just go through those pointers and see where you are currently at and where your organizations are currently at. So maybe we'll quickly wrap it up with a few Q&A. So what we can do, maybe you can drop your questions and answers in the chat, and we can take it up post the session. Would that work, Saurabh and Anshuman?
Definitely.
Okay. All right. Sounds good then. So what we can do, please share your questions in the comment box, and what we can do, either we'll reply through email or we can send you a reply back. And then if you have any other concerns and queries, and if you want to consult further, you can anytime reach out to Inspiron Labs. So maybe, yeah. So let's quickly wrap it up. So we hope that this session has helped you. And first of all, like thank you, Anshuman and Saurabh, for walking us through the steps of scaling AI. And yeah, we hope this helped our audiences to scale their AI transformation journey confidently. And they can definitely bring out some outcomes and they can see some measurable business impact out of that. So we appreciate your time, and we are looking forward to have many more more such conversations with you in the future. So thank you to you all, and thanks for joining. And we appreciate your time. Have a great day ahead. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.